The silence of space was broken by the deep, low hum of massive engines. The Deathworlder fleet moved like a dark shadow across the stars, their warships cutting through the void with frightening speed and power. Outpost Vega watched carefully. As the ships grew larger on their sensors, Commander Kale stood on the bridge of the lead ship, the Iron Fang, his face carved from stone. Known across the galaxy as the Deadliest warriors, the Deathworlders were fierce, proud, and unforgiving. Their arrival was a warning and a promise. Help would come. But only if the danger was real and the price was paid. Back on Outpost Vega, Commander Reyes paced the control room. The crew worked in tense silence, checking weapons, shields, and scanners. Everyone was waiting for the next move and hoping the Deathworlders would join the fight instead of taking control. A sharp alert blinked on the communications panel. It was Kale's voice, hard and demanding. "This is Commander Kale of the Deathworlder fleet. You sent the distress signal. Explain everything. No secrets." Reyes took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Commander Kale, this is Commander Reyes of Outpost Vega. We received a call for help from a planet nearby. We don't know much yet, but the message was urgent. An enemy is attacking a force unlike any we have seen." Kale's eyes narrowed. "Show me the message." Lin, the communication officer, replayed the distress call. The room grew colder as the words echoed through the speakers. "Help us, or we will all die." Kale's face did not change. A weak plea. "Where's your courage, Commander Reyes? I call the Deathworlders if you believe in your own strength." Reyes met Kale's hard gaze. "We're not warriors like you, Kale. We protect knowledge and peace. This threat is beyond us." There was silence for a moment, heavy, intense. Then Kale nodded slowly. "Fine. We will come. But you will answer all my questions, and your people will follow my orders. The Deathworlders do not fight weaklings." The fleet moved closer, surrounding Outpost Vega like a pack of wolves. Their ships were enormous, bristling with weapons, armor thick as mountains, and energy shields glowing blue in the darkness. Inside the station, the crew felt a mix of fear and relief. The Deathworlders were brutal, but they were the best hope against the unknown enemy. Suddenly, the station's sensors detected something new. Small ships, fast and silent, were moving near the edge of the system. "They were the enemy, Zethar." "Scouts," Lin said, her voice shaking. "They are already here." Reyes looked at Kale's fleet on the screen. "They're scouting us. They want to find our weakness." Kale's expression hardened. "Then we must show them our strength." Without waiting, the Deathworlder fleet launched fighter ships, sharp and deadly like birds of prey in space. The fighters moved with speed and precision, attacking the Zethar scouts before they could reach Outpost Vega. A fierce battle erupted. Blaster fire lit the stars as fighters clashed in tight, deadly dogfights. Explosions rocked the void, sending sparks flying. On the station's bridge, Reyes watched as the Deathworlders fought with terrifying skill. Their fighters never missed, their tactics ruthless and perfect. But the Zethar scouts were clever. Some slipped through the defense lines, sending missiles toward the station. "Shields at 50%, Lin shouted. "We can't hold much longer." Reyes grabbed the communication panel. "Kale, we need backup. Stop those missiles." Kale's voice was cold, but urgent. "Hold your ground, Commander. Our fleet is moving in." Minutes later, heavy warships from the Deathworlder fleet fired powerful energy beams at the scouts. The enemy ships exploded in bright flashes, their pieces drifting into space. The immediate threat was stopped, but the danger had only grown. Kale turned to Reyes. "This enemy is strong. You must prepare your people for war." Reyes nodded. "We will, but tell me, what do you know about the Zethar?" Kale's eyes darkened. "They are ancient killers. They destroy everything in their path. No mercy, no reason. You're lucky we answered your call. Many would have ignored you." The room grew quiet. The truth was clear. Outpost Vega and its people faced a deadly enemy, and only the Deathworlders could stand between them and destruction. As night fell on the station, the crew gathered to watch the stars. Somewhere beyond the darkness, the battle was just beginning. Reyes looked to the stars and whispered, "We will fight. We will survive." And with that, The Deathworlder fleet prepared to strike their fury, ready to be unleashed. The silence of space shattered as the Zethar fleet appeared on the edge of the system, dark, massive, and terrifying. Hundreds of warships filled the void, their weapons glowing like deadly stars. Outpost Vega's alarms blared loudly, shaking the station's walls. Commander Reyes stood at the command bridge, eyes fixed on the screen. "This is it," he said, voice steady but low. "The battle we feared is here." Around him, the crew worked quickly, activating shields, loading weapons, and preparing for the fight. The Deathworlder fleet, led by Commander Kale, formed a tight circle around the station, ready to strike. The Zathar ships advanced with cruel precision, weapons firing powerful blasts that lit up the darkness. The first wave hit the stations. Shields with brutal force, shaking the hull, shields holding at 70%. Lynn reported, fingers flying over the controls. Kale's voice cut through the noise. "Deploy fighters. Let them taste Deathworlder steel." Small, fast fighter ships erupted from the Deathworlder fleet, cutting through the Zythar attackers with lightning speed. Explosions rocked space as dogfights broke out, fighters twisting and turning with deadly skill. But the enemy was relentless. Larger warships fired massive energy beams that tore through the station's defenses, causing sparks and damage. Inside the station, the crew fought panic and fear. Harris shouted orders, moving between consoles. "Focus fire on the enemy's heavy ships. Keep the fighters away from the station." Suddenly, a massive explosion rocked the station. The power flickered, and gravity shifted unsteadily. Damage. In Sector 7, Lynn yelled, "We've lost some shields." Reyes gritted his teeth. "Keep fighting. Can't let them break through." Outside, the battle raged on. Deathworlder fighters swarmed the Zythar. But the enemy had a secret weapon, massive war beast. A creature unlike anything the crew had seen before. The beast moved through space like a living nightmare, tearing ships apart with claws of energy and a roar that shook the void. Kale's warriors fired all weapons at the beast, but it seemed almost invincible. Reyes watched in horror as the beast targeted the station. "Focus all firepower on that creature," he ordered. The battle grew more intense. Explosions and laser blasts filled the sky. The station shook again and again under heavy fire. But then, in the heat of battle, a sudden moment of silence came. The beast faltered, hit by a powerful blast from Kale's flagship. It screamed in rage and pain, then disappeared into the darkness. The tide of battle shifted, with renewed hope. The Deathworlder fleet and Outpost Vega's defenders pushed back the Zithar. After hours of fighting, the enemy began to retreat, leaving behind burning wrecks and silence. Commander Reyes breathed heavily. "We survived the first wave." Kale looked at him with respect. "This is only the beginning. The Zythar will return, but we are ready." Reyes nodded. "We will be ready." As the stars glowed cold once more, the crews of Outpost Vega and the Deathworlders prepared for the long war ahead, a war that would test their courage, strength, and will to survive. The quiet after the battle was uneasy. Outpost Vega's halls were filled with tired faces and whispered worries. The station had survived the Zethar's first attack, but everyone knew it was only the beginning. Commander Reyes moved through the corridors, checking on his crew. Repairs were underway, but the damage was serious. Some systems were still offline, and the station's defenses had been weakened. "We must be ready," Reyes told his officers. "The Zythar will not wait long before they strike again." Commander Kale stood beside him, silent but watchful. "They are like the shadows, always moving, always watching. We cannot trust what we see." Reyes nodded. "We have another problem. Our sensors picked up unusual energy readings from the planet below. Something is stirring." Lieutenant Harris showed the data on the screen. "There's a strong power source deep underground, far from where the Zithar have been. Attacking. It's growing." Kale frowned. "That energy could be dangerous. The Zythar may be preparing something worse." Reyes turned to Lynn. "Can we scan deeper? Find out what it is? Lin worked quickly, sending probes and scanning through layers of rock and metal. The images showed a massive structure buried beneath the planet's surface, ancient, strange, and glowing with a cold blue light. The structure looks like a weapon. Or a prison, Lin said, but it's impossible to tell. Kale's eyes darkened. If the Zythar have that weapon, they will destroy everything. Suddenly alarms blared. The station's scanners detected a hidden ship moving near the planet's surface, stealthy and fast. An enemy scout.
Owls.
Harris said grimly. They're spying on us. Kale growled. Send a strike team. We must capture or destroy that ship before it reports back. Reyes agreed. Mira led the team. The young pilot nodded. Her scout ship was fast and equipped for stealth. As she launched into the planet's atmosphere, the crew watched anxiously. On the planet's surface, Mira's team moved carefully through dense forests and ruined cities. The enemy scout ship landed in a hidden valley, guarded by strange machines. Mira's team attacked quickly, disabling the ship and capturing the pilota, Zethar warrior. Back on Vega, the captured warrior refused to speak, but Kale's warriors knew how to break the strongest minds. After hours of interrogation, the warrior finally spoke. The weapon. It is awakening. The Zythar will use it to crush all life. Reyes felt a chill. We need to stop it. Kale nodded. Then we must go to the planet's surface. Destroy that weapon before it wakes. The commanders prepared their forces for a dangerous mission. The war was no longer just in space. It was coming to the ground. As the Deathworlders and Vega's crew planned their attack, the shadows deepened and the enemy's power grew. The war was entering its darkest phase. The fleet gathered at the edge of the planet's atmosphere. Outpost Vega's damaged but still powerful ships hovered above. While the Deathworlders prepared their landing crafts for the assault, Commander Reyes stood beside Kale on the bridge. Of the Iron Fang, both leaders felt the weight of what lay ahead. The ancient weapon beneath the planet was a threat unlike any they had faced. We don't know what to expect, Reyes said quietly. But if the Zythar activate that weapon, no one will survive. Kale's eyes burned with determination. Then we end this now. No mercy. No hesitation. As the landing crafts launched, cutting through the thick atmosphere with roaring engines. Below the planet's surface was a wasteland, burnt forests, shattered cities, and strange glowing ruins. Mira piloted her craft carefully, leading the troops down to the planet's surface. As they landed, the ground trembled beneath their feet. Stay alert, Kale ordered. The Zythar won't let us destroy their weapon without a fight. The team moved cautiously toward the glowing structure buried deep underground. Strange symbols covered the ruins, pulsing with eerie light. Inside the ancient facility, darkness swallowed the soldiers. Only their flashlights and the faint blue glow from the walls lit their way. Suddenly, robotic sentries sprang to life, their weapons firing with deadly precision. Ambush, shouted Reyes, as the team dove for cover. The battle inside the corridors was brutal. Metal clashed with metal. Energy beams cut through the air. Soldiers fought for every inch. Kale's warriors were fierce, their combat skills unmatched. But the Zythar machines were relentless. In the chaos, Lin hacked into the facility's control systems from her portable console, trying to shut down the weapon. I'm close, she said through the comms. Just a few more seconds. But then, a loud alarm echoed through the halls. The weapon is activating, Lin warned. You have to hurry. Reyes and Kale pushed forward, cutting down enemies and breaking through barriers. Finally, they reached the central chamber. Massive room filled with glowing crystals and humming machines at the center. The weapon pulsed with dangerous energy, growing brighter and louder. Lin's voice crackled over the comms. I'm overriding the controls now, but if I fail, we're all dead. With a final push, Lin shut down the power. The weapon's glow dimmed, and the humming stopped. A roar echoed through the facility. The KSI. Tar forces were retreating. The team hurried back to their ships, exhausted but victorious. As they lifted off, Reyes looked down at the planet, Now quiet and still, Kale spoke beside him. We have won this battle, but the war is far from over. Reyes nodded. At his Zythar will return, but we'll be ready. Fleet returned to Outpost Vega, carrying hope and scars from the dark planet below. Outpost Vega was alive again. The damage from the battle was repaired, and the crew moved with renewed energy. The Deathworlder fleet stayed close, a presence, a fierce promise of protection. Commander Reyes stood on the bridge, watching the stars. The ancient weapon on the planet had been stopped for now. But the war was not over. Commander Kale, Reyes said, "What now? Will the Zythar come back?" Kale's voice was low and serious. "They always return. But this time we have shown them strength. They will think twice." Lynn approached with new data from the planet below. Sensors detect movement. Zythar are regrouping, but slower than before. Reyes nodded. "We have time to prepare." But then, a new message appeared on the screen. It was from a distant part of the galaxy, another distress call. The message was brief but chilling. "The Zethar are spreading. The fight has only begun." Reyes and Kale exchanged a look. Their battle had saved many lives, but the enemy's shadow stretched far beyond. "We must warn others," Kale said. "The galaxy must unite or fall." Reyes nodded. "I'll send the message. We can't face this alone." The crew gathered for a moment of silence, remembering those lost and readying for what was next, as the Deathworlder fleet prepared to leave. Kale turned to Reyes. "You have courage, Commander. The galaxy needs warriors like you."
Reyes
Smiled, "And we'll stand with you, Deathworlders. Together, we fight."
No.
The ships launched into the stars, carrying hope, warning, and the promise of a long battle ahead. The fight for the galaxy's survival was just beginning. Deep in the silent darkness of space, Outpost Vega floated like a lonely guardian. It was a small station, but important, watching distant stars, listening for signals from the unknown. The crew worked quietly, their eyes on glowing screens. Waiting for news from the far corners of the galaxy, suddenly a sharp beep broke the calm. On the main communication panel, a new message appeared, a strange signal. Unlike anything the station had seen before, Lieutenant Harris was the first to notice. "Commander Reyes, you need to see this," he said, his voice tense. "We're picking up a distress call, but it's different." Commander Reyes stepped forward, his brow furrowed. He stared at the message scrolling across the screen. The words were simple but urgent. "Help us. We're under attack. If no one answers, we will all die." The signal was coming from a small, unknown planet on the edge of the galaxy, a place no one on Vega had heard about before. The coordinates blinked in red, flashing again and again. The message repeated, but with a strange pause, like a hidden code inside. Reyes looked at his crew. "Who sent this? Do we know what's happening there?" Lieutenant Harris shook his head. "No, sir. The message sounds real, but the source is not in our records. No name, no identity." The room filled with quiet tension. This was unusual. Most distress calls came from known ships or colonies, not from a mysterious planet far beyond their maps. Reyes knew one thing for sure. Ignoring the signal was not an option. The message was desperate, and whoever sent it was in serious trouble. He made the decision quickly. "Send an urgent message back. Tell them we are coming. Prepare the station for possible danger." The communication officer, Lynn, worked fast, typing the reply. But as she sent the message, something strange happened. The distress call began to change. New words appeared, hidden inside the signal like a warning. "Beware the coming storm. Not all will survive. Trust no one." Chill passed through the crew. Reyes stared at the screen, heart pounding. It was sending this message. And what storm were they warning about? Before anyone could answer, another alert sounded from the station's sensors. "Unidentified ships approaching," Lynn announced. "We're detecting fast-moving vessels, heading toward the planet hand. Toward us." Reyes turned sharply. "Are they friend or foe?" Lynn shook her head. "Unknown, sir. Their ships have no markings, but their weapon systems are active." Crew rushed to their stations. Alarms blared, lights flashed red. Outpost Vega was on high alert. In the command room, Reyes called for a full status report. We don't know who these ships are or why they're coming. We need to be ready for anything. Just then, the station's long-range scanners picked up a new signal. Powerful, heavy, and unlike anything they had before. It's a fleet, said Harris, voice low. Large, heavily armed. Reyes' eyes narrowed. Would respond to a distress call with a fleet of warships? The question hung in the air. The silence was broken only by the steady beep of incoming messages. Minutes passed like hours. The crew prepared weapons, sealed off sections of the station, and braced for the unknown. Then, through the thick blackness of space, the warships appeared massive, dark, and intimidating. Their designs were sharp and angular, with glowing red eyes that seemed to burn with silent fury. The Deathworlder fleet had arrived. Commander Kale stood on the bridge of the lead ship, watching the outpost below. His face was hard and unreadable. The Deathworlders were known as the deadliest warriors in the galaxy, feared and respected by all. Kale's voice came over the communication channel, cold and commanding. This is Commander Kale of the Deathworlder fleet. We have received your distress call. Identify yourself immediately. Back on Outpost Vega, Reyes took a deep breath and replied carefully. This is Commander Reyes of Outpost Vega Station. We received a distress signal from a nearby planet. We do not know who sent it, but we are investigating. Kale's tone was sharp. We are warriors, not peacekeepers. If you want our help, you will tell us everything. No lies, no secrets. The tension between the two commanders was clear. The Deathworlders did not trust easily. Their help came with a price, and their fury was known to be terrible when crossed. Inside the station, the crew watched nervously as Kale's ships held position. The unknown enemy was closing in fast. Time was running out. Reyes knew they had. To act fast, prepare a scout team, he ordered. We need to get answers from that planet before it's too late. The scout ship was small and fast, designed for quick missions. Reyes picked his best pilot, a brave young woman named Mira, to lead the team as Mira's ship launched into the void. The rest of the crew held their breath. The scout ship sped toward the unknown planet. It's moving through thick asteroid fields and dark clouds of space dust. On the surface, sensors showed strange activity flashes of light, energy spikes, and signs of destruction. Mira sent back images: burned forests, broken cities, and massive craters. The planet was a battlefield. Suddenly, the scouts' instruments detected movement, large machines, and unknown creatures marching through the ruins. Something is wrong, Mira reported. The attackers aren't just soldiers. They are something else, something dangerous. Back on Vega, the crew stared in horror. Reyes spoke quietly. We are dealing with an enemy unlike any we've faced before. And the Deathworlders. They will not fight unless they believe the threat is real. A new message arrived from the planet this time, clearer and more urgent. The enemy is coming. They destroy everything. Please, send help. Send the Deathworlders. We have no time. Reyes looked at the message and then at Kale's fleet. This war is bigger than we thought, he said. We need their strength no matter the cost. Deathworlders prepared to strike, and Outpost Vega braced for a fight that could change the galaxy forever. The calm on Outpost Vega was only an illusion. Deep in the shadows of space, a new threat moved closer, unseen but deadly. Commander Reyes and his crew felt it in their bones. The danger was growing. In the war room, a group gathered around. Glowing screens? Data flashed fast, showing strange readings from the planet sending the distress signal. It was clear now, the enemy wasn't just any force. It was something ancient and merciless. Lieutenant Harris pointed at the main screen. Commander, look at this. The scans show huge machines moving across the planet's surface, and strange creatures we don't recognize. Reyes frowned. What kind of creatures? Harris shook his head. We don't know. But they are organized like an army. They destroy everything in their path. In the corner, Lynn worked furiously to decrypt the distress call's hidden code. Beads of sweat rolled down her forehead as she raced against time. Suddenly, eyes widened. "Commander, there's more in the message than we thought. Encrypted warnings and coordinates." Reyes stepped closer. "Show me." Lynn's fingers flew over the console. A secret message appeared. "The Zythar come. They hunt all life. Beware the traitor." The room fell silent. "Zythar," Reyes repeated. "Who are they?" Commander Kale, standing quietly nearby, spoke for the first time since arrival. His voice was deep and harsh. "The Zythar are legends of death, a species feared for centuries. They invade, destroy, and never stop. They kill without mercy or reason." Reyes looked at Kale, eyes searching. "Why would the Zythar attack this planet? What do they want?" Kale's lips pressed into a thin line. "Power, control, and to wipe out anyone who stands in their way." The weight of those words hit the room like a storm. The Zythar were more than just enemies. They were extinction. But the secret message was even more troubling. Beware the traitor. Who was it? How deep did the threat run? Reyes turned to his crew. "We need answers. Start scanning everyone on the station and fleet. Can't trust anyone until we find out who the traitor is." Meanwhile, on the surface of the mysterious planet, the Zythar moved like shadows. In the night, their huge war machines crushed forests and cities alike. Their alien soldiers advanced without pause, leaving only ruin behind. Suddenly, the distress signal flashed again. This time a new voice, weak and urgent. "Help us. The traitor is among you. The enemy is closer than you think." Back on Vega, the message sent shivers through the crew. Did their own ranks. It was impossible to know who to trust. Reyes called for a meeting with Commander Kale and his top warriors. They gathered in the strategy room, a dark chamber filled with holographic maps and tactical displays. Kale's voice was steady but fierce. "If the traitor helps the enemy, they must be stopped. Deathworlders do not tolerate betrayal. We'll find this traitor and make an example." Reyes nodded, thankful for the warriors' resolve, but worried about the cost. "We must also prepare for battle," Reyes added. "Zythar will not wait." The teams began training, preparing weapons, and repairing ships. Fear mixed with determination. Every moment counted. Late that night, Reyes stared at the stars, thinking about the coming war. The Zythar were near. The traitor was unknown, and the fate of the galaxy hung by a thread. The fight for survival had begun. The tension inside Outpost Vega was thick, almost like the air itself was holding its breath. Everyone knew that the enemy was close, but something worse lurked within the walls of their own home, a traitor. Commander Reyes walked the corridors, watching his crew carefully. Faces he had trusted before now seemed shadowed with doubt. Wondered silently, who could be working for the Zythar? In the command center, Lieutenant Harris and Lynn worked side by side, scanning every message, every signal, looking for clues. They searched through logs, communications, and crew records. But the traitor was clever, covering their tracks well. Suddenly an explosion shook the station. Alarms screamed as lights flashed red. "Sabotage," Lynn shouted. "Someone has damaged the power core." The station shuddered under the blow. Without full power, their defenses would fail against the incoming fleet. Reyes raced to the control room. "Seal all sections. Find the saboteur now." The crew moved quickly, but fear spread fast. Who was the enemy hiding among them, Commander? Kale arrived with his Deathworlder warriors, their heavy armor clanking as they took control of the station's security. "Traitor," Kale growled, "we will find you and crush you." Days passed like a nightmare. More sabotage slowed repairs, and trust broke down. Even the strongest began to suspect their closest friends. Meanwhile, the mysterious planet continued to send weak signals. Another message arrived, filled with desperation. "They are inside you. Trust no one. The traitor will kill to protect them." Reyes held the message tightly. "We cannot wait. We must act." He called a secret meeting with his closest officers and the Deathworlder leaders. Kale's voice was cold but certain. "The traitor must be found by any means. Deathworlder justice is swift." Reyes nodded. "We need to search everyone. no exceptions. The investigation began. Each crew member was questioned. Rooms were searched, secrets were uncovered, but just when it seemed they were no closer. A discovery shocked everyone. A hidden communication device was found, sending encrypted messages to the Zythar. The device belonged to a junior officer, someone nobody expected. When confronted, the officer confessed with cold eyes. "I do this for power. Zethar will rise, and I will be on the winning side." Reyes felt a heavy weight. Betrayal cut deep. But now, at least they knew the enemy inside. Kale's warriors took the traitor away. Justice will be done, he said grimly. With the threat inside removed, the station began to heal. Repairs sped up, and the crew's spirits lifted. But the danger was far from over. The Zythar fleet was closing in. Reyes stood beside Kale on the command bridge, ready for their attack. Kale nodded. Deathworlders never back. Down. Outside, the stars blinked cold and distant. But the fires of war were about to burn bright. The battle for survival was near.